Hey guys, this is Cam from 15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And for you Dragon Ball fans, it's been a while, but the Dragon Ball Super manga has returned for today and won't be back till March 20th, but we got a really good chapter today. And I can't wait to talk about it. Sorry that this video is going up late. I've been pretty busy throughout the day, and there was one part I almost forgot that the chapter was today. But yeah, other than that, this is chapter 57, and it's titled "Battles Abroad." So we're at the lookout tower, and essentially, Bulma has these cameras slash devices thanks to these little essentially drones she sent out. And basically, she can watch all the fights that all the Z fighters are doing. Krillin's obviously fighting the Botamo lookalike character. Also on this one page, Chi-Chi does make a mention of like looking through these little monitors, and she's like, "I don't want to see Krillin. I want to see my Gohan." So obviously, it shows that I guess Chi-Chi now, I guess she's supportive of Gohan fighting now. In the same panel, because they show the Pilaf gang, the Ox-King and Chi-Chi. If all of them were there, I'm shocked to see that, Vidal's not there, at least with Pan, if they feel like this is a huge issue. But anyways, Krillin uses his Destructo Disc on the Botama-looking character, and the Botama-looking character basically rolls into a balls and kicks, essentially deflects them all this way. He kicks Krillin down into the ground, and essentially, you see Krillin's hand move up, and the destructive disc actually almost cuts the Botama looking guy. It scraped his face and all like that, and we now got the confirmation that now Krillin can do what Frieza can do with the destructive disc, even what Cell did in the fight against Goku back in the Cell games. And that is he can control where his Destructo Disc moves. So I guess this means he has complete mastery of his Destructo Disc, because for the longest time, we knew he could do the Destructo Disc, but couldn't do it on the scale like Frieza could, where he could control the Destructo Disc. Now he can control the Destructo Disc, which makes him a much better fighter and a much more better tactician. So it goes to show he has been training the Destructo Disc, because if you remember from the Tournament of Power, the anime version, he did the Solar Flare times 100 thing. That was an inspiration. And then where it had the Destructo Disc thing. So anyways, for the Destructo Disc are targeting the Botama looking character. He dodges it. It looks like it's gonna hit Krillin, but he does an after image strike. He does a Kamehameha on him and then finishes the fight. And essentially, he tells the Galactic Patrol men who were there monitoring his fight to essentially, lock him up. So they make sure to take care of him. He hears basically another fight going on in the distance, and we later find out that it's Master Roshi. And apparently, Master Roshi's, like I said, he was fighting those three chicks in the show, or those three chicks in the panel, and he can't really focus because he's getting those pervy thoughts again about touching them, because the girls are like, why is this old man trying to grope us and touch us and stuff like that? Now, Krillin says to Master Roshi, like, why are you not tapping into the power you did in the Tournament of Power? Now, I'm just going to get this something straight. Guys, if you are anime onlys and you just want to see the continuation of where the Super storyline could be going, the anime does come back. If you didn't know, obviously the manga and the anime for Super, they told the same exact story. It just was different. And one of the things in the Tournament of Power, Master Roshi was fighting Jiren, and he was dodging Jiren's moves pretty easily, like he was using some form of Ultra Instinct. That is why if you're reading the panel, you're like, wait, he fought Jiren? Because I don't remember that from the anime. Yeah, he did some kind of Ultra Instinct ripoff. But if you want to see that, you got to get the Viz Media app, or if you have it, you can always check back and see how different, the first half of Super compared to this part of Super is different to the anime. So if you were having any confusions about, wait, he fought Jiren, because I don't remember him fighting Jiren in the anime. Um, yeah, that's something for people who are watching the anime but are now reading the manga because the anime has been on a hiatus or something like that. But yeah. Anyways, Roshi is like, I just need time to concentrate, and essentially can't concentrate because of the girls and stuff like that. So it then cuts to Tien and Chaozu, and they're fighting the Magetta-looking Metal Man. And essentially, they later find out that because he's a Metal Man, they have to throw insults at him. And Tien was kind of shocked because he's like, insults? So Tien says like a bunch of, you know, crappy things. Like, Bowman mentions, like, is Tien even capable of, like, having essentially, you know, comebacks at people? So he calls him. So one of the things he calls him like a rockhead. Another one he calls him a half-ton tubby and stuff like that. And essentially he's having trouble, you know, making fun of the Magetta-looking person. Essentially, Chaozu, he just says it. He just says some offensive thing by calling him a hunk of scrap metal, and the Magetta look-alike breaks down, and obviously he's tapped out. So Chaozu technically gets the win more than Tien, but they managed to beat the Metal Man. Um, so then it cuts back to the fight with Master Roshi and the girls, and Master Roshi is actually blindfolded, and now he's easily beating the three girls, like literally just mopping the floor with them. And essentially, they like the all the this one girl in their little three-man girl group is like, why is this dude all this strong? All of a sudden, he's this strong now, and essentially, Roshi says like, look, you know, I can just sense your movements and stuff like that. And then he says like, yo, just give it up and just turn yourself in. You at least have a place to go to and essentially serve the justice you caused. The girls were like, there's no way we're going back to prison, essentially. And essentially, they end up fusing. So they have a three-person fusion. I feel like Taro took that from Dragon Ball Fusions in a way. I guess that's my only thing. He took that from Dragon Ball Fusions. They do not show them fusing in the manga. It would have been pretty interesting to see how they fused. Who knows? Maybe in the next chapter, maybe they might go into detail with how they fused. Who knows? But then they turn into some just big, gigantic, ugly woman. I will say this. One of the chicks, I'll say one of the chicks had like a look similar to Android 21's Majin design. I guess the face looks more like Toa and the hair as well, but the clothes she's dressed in, it looks awfully a lot like Android 21. I don't know if it's just like some kind of homage to Android 21 because she had the sleeves and then she had the one top that looks like Android 21, and then the pants were just as baggy as Android 21's pags in her Majin form is. So I just saw that interesting because I was like, it's kind of like an homage to Android 21's, outfit. That's just me, but I don't know if you guys thought that, so yeah. Anyways, she punches the fused, lady is like all big and fat. She punches the heck out of Krillin, and Krillin is like, like it's known when they're like and stuff like that. Like he lost a gasp of air. Then she kicks Roshi and sends Roshi flying. So obviously they're in huge trouble. Now, the little Namekian who has accompanied Dende, he essentially says that Moro's ship is now descending. So it then and Moro and his side companion are essentially on the way down to Earth. and they're landing where the fight is going on. So it cuts to the fight with Android 17 and 18 versus 7-3 and 7-3's little assistant. And it looks like Android 17 is going to wrap this fight up, and it looks like he's going to win. Then Moro comes out of nowhere, stops catches 7-3 from, essentially being destroyed. And essentially he tells, I'm trying to find his name because I'm looking at the panels and stuff like that. And essentially, he wants 7-3 to be rehealed because he feels like there's going to be another chance to use him for his powers and stuff like that. Because Moro's like, I require his powers. I'll have to require his powers once again. So essentially, recover him. The little scrawny dude tells him to go, and stuff like that. Or actually, the little scrawny dude's called Shimo Reka, or Shimio Reka, and essentially, he flies up to his ship to repair him essentially and get him healed. So then, essentially, Gohan and Piccolo would conclude that Moro is Moro. He's the big boss and stuff like that. And they also do point out that Moro is like his energy is extremely like large and extremely horrifying and really evil. That's what Gohan says. And Jocko basically says it's probably because he killed like all the energy he stole from everyone he killed and stuff like that. So Moro does make a mention that Goku and Vegeta are not there yet, and Gohan's like, look, they may not be here yet, but we still have to stand up and protect the Earth and stuff like that. And Moro essentially is like, he's actually giving the Earth positives because he's shocked at how much energy the Earth has. And essentially, he's like thinking, how should I prepare the dish? How should I eat to consume anything? So essentially, he essentially Sangabo, who's the assistant who flew down with him, he asked Moro if he could fight the people in front of him, which is Gohan, Piccolo, Android 17 and 18, and the others. So then Moro allows him to, and then Moro says, "Let me give you a gift." So he actually like gives Sangabos some energy, and this energy turns him essentially into like a freaking like the Hulk, essentially, and he gets all jacked and he's all ripped, and all of a sudden his like energy is like crazy strong now. He goes in for an attack, and Android 17 blocks it. Android 17's getting pushed. It pushes 17 right into 18. 18's trying to hold it back, help Android 17 hold it back. Gohan, Piccolo, and Jocko all jump in to try to hold him back. And they're all holding him back, and it all fails because he literally just wipes them all away like it's nothing. And stuff like that. Which goes to show that this dude, Moro gave this dude like a lot of energy for him to get stronger. And stuff like that. And then Piccolo does make a mention, he's like, we still have to deal with this guy before we have to deal with Moro. Which is insane. And it's insane that Moro gave him that much energy to get him that stronger. It cuts back to what Tien and Chaozu are doing. And they see Yamcha actually getting into some trouble fighting some crazy looking character, like a dinosaur looking character. His design, if you ask me, he looks like that one, barbarian from the Zamasu arc, who Zamasu killed in the Goku Black arc. That he just looks like one that can talk. Obviously not as big and bulky as those type of barbarian creatures, but that's what it is. So obviously Tien, Chaozu, and Yamcha are all teaming up to fight this guy. And this guy, he's no slouch himself. He even states like, I'm not like the other, convicts. I'm a cut above the rest. So it comes back to the Krillin Master Roshi versus the Big Fuse Woman fight. And essentially Krillin gets the idea is like, look, we have no other option. Hopefully Goku can sense, my energy because I'm gonna give it all I got so he can, sense it and come to me. And essentially it's like, well, buddy, you better come right now. So it cuts to Goku in the Galactic Patrol ship because he's always flying to Earth. And then he senses, the fight going on with some of the others. Like he senses the Gohan fight, the Tien Yamcha fight. He's trying to use instant transmission, but Apparently, their energy is too faint for him to use instant transmission or whatever. Personally, if you ask me, I really think, if anything, he might need to work on training instant transmission to the point where if he just senses energy, he's able to go to it despite it being faint. Um, but anyways, Krillin charges up, and essentially, Goku can sense Krillin's energy, and he uses instant transmission to get there. And when the big lady finds Krillin, she goes in for the attack, and it looks like this. If Goku didn't show up, Krillin probably would have maybe died. She gets hit, and really in the panel it looks like, because she has no eyes, so obviously she got knocked out. And all of a sudden, the last panel in the chapter shows Goku has now finally arrived on Earth, and then he basically, and his last few quotes, he's like, I'm sorry, I have a habit of always showing up late at the, last second, Krillin. I did it to you in the freaking Saiyan saga. I did it to you in the Frieza saga. I guess you can't really blame him in the freaking Android saga because he was sick half the arc. Well, I guess the first part of the Saiyan saga he showed up pretty late, but Trunks took care of Frieza, and then Majin Buu saga. He didn't really show up late because he was dead half that arc, that saga. Battle of Gods, yes, he showed up at the last second before Beerus showed up. He did the same thing in Resurrection F. Goku just has a bad habit at showing up late for fights. Obviously, that's just, the anime trope for almost every, anime where the main character, before the big fight starts out, always is the last one to show his face. But yeah, that's where the manga chapter ends. We won't get another manga chapter till March 20th. So yeah, this episode was a really good episode. Not good episode. I wish. This manga chapter was a really good manga chapter, and it's heating up. So now Goku's back on Earth. So it's looking like he took care of the fused, warrior, unless she somehow recovers and she fights Goku. But I feel like he's gonna go probably next and meet up with, Tien and Yamcha. Probably stop that dude they're fighting, and then that's when he heads over to where Moro's at. Now, Vegeta did not make an appearance in this manga chapter, and it looks like Vegeta's gonna be the last one to show up. So, and it was funny because Geekdom 101 said this on his manga chapter review. He was speculating, what if Vegeta might be the person that saves the day, who gets the final blow on Moro? It would be interesting because he is the last one to show up, and he is learning. He has learned spirit, so, obviously, it's crazy. So essentially, I don't know. Maybe Vegeta's just on his way back to the planet, back to Earth. It's just, they just didn't show him. I feel like maybe the end of next week's chapter is when Vegeta will finally arrive to Earth. And then they'll have the start of the final fight with Moro. I'm really looking interested to see how this final fight will go, as opposed to, the last couple of fights they've had. Because, geez, we're gonna see. So, obviously, we also gonna have to probably see, maybe the conclusion to that Sangha Bro versus the other Z fighters, that are currently there versus him. Unless Vegeta comes down and essentially beats that guy before they fight Moro, which I guess could happen. Who knows? But manga is heating up, and it's looking like we're getting to the final stages. It just sucks that we don't get a chapter like every freaking month. The only thing, or every freaking week. I think the only reason if we got a chapter every week for Dragon Ball, we would be getting 17 pages compared to 45 page, chapters. But it is what it is. You just have to wait a month for each new chapter. But other than that, Torotaro is doing a really good job with this manga, and I'm liking where this is going. So other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. If you like this video, leave a like. If there's a comment you want to put in the comment section, what your thoughts on this chapter was, and the pretty interesting things that went on, and your predictions for what could happen next chapter. Put them in the comment section. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Dragon Ball content. Right now, really, either if it's top 10s related to Dragon Ball content, or just the manga chapter reviews every month. Other than that, that's really it. So I'm gonna get out of here. This is Camper 15. Peace.